Thank you.
And
Tell
I'm
me
hot. All right. Yeah, buddy.
Okay. So I am good to go.
You're good to go. You ready to rock?
All right. Excellent.
Awesome.
Welcome everybody to the professionally scheduled and initiated for Beardsman stream. Great to see everybody. Allow me to introduce my guests, the thoroughly inestimable J.L. Warren, who I discover amongst his many other talents has a wonderful singing voice. How are you, sir?
Oh, I am good. I am doing very, very good. Things are kind of. We had an awesome stream the other day, and I've just been, the channel got monetized, and the writing projects are taking off, and Weekend Horror is doing amazing. So yeah, it's just been awesome. My hours are all screwed up because I write at night when it's quiet, and so I like waking up late and crap. But otherwise, things are fantastic.
Excellent. And Johnny of the One Eye.
It's 1 3/4.
1 3/4. Okay. How are you, good sir?
I am well-ish. I haven't slept in a couple of days, but that is, whatever. We'll be okay. We're doing good. We're doing good. Doing good.
You can sleep when you're dead.
That's exactly right.
That's how you.
Just sleep in your
I
bed.
thought that's how you rock and rollers went.
Exactly. Exactly. Who needs sleep? Who needs sleep when you have cocaine? I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Well,
I'm kidding.
live hard, die young. Maybe a bit late to leave a pretty corpse.
Live fast, die young, and I guess leave a corpse behind.
Yeah. Yeah. Young, golly. I was young once.
Yeah, that was a thing at one stage. It's wasted, I tell you, on young people.
It is.
Youth is wasted on the youth.
Yes.
But yeah.
I saw that movie.
And
turns out it's
so
bullshit.
Is that the biography of Oscar Wilde? Or I thought he said that. No.
Oh, I was referring to It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's that's bullshit. We have several people in the chat. Catnip Entertainment, Kevin Paul, Doctor Who, Dr. Lord Stinky Butt the Butler, Backbeat, of course, and Trade Hall. Thank you very much for coming along. I don't know. I don't think I've seen Trade Hall before. I think there are at least 1 or 2 people lurking, though. And Lord Stinky Butt, the Stinkster, said that he had to go quickly. So thanks for dropping by. It was a drive-by viewing.
Drive-by viewing.
Witnesses, were rather unsettled by it. Unable to give a clear description other than he smelled the lot.
That's right. Maybe as soon as thing calms down for the demon, we'll be able to do a proper Beardsman.
I hope so. I miss hanging out with the little furball.
Yes, I'm sure it's been quite difficult for him. We were going to, as I was saying earlier, show him images of Boris Johnson meeting and greeting the Japanese youth.
The greatest clip I've seen. Yeah. So good. So good.
Oh, Johnny, so you mentioned that, and Peter Flenberg actually commented on the stream the other day and said, Johnny O's laugh did wonders for my soul.
Oh, man, that was so funny.
Chris Durham says he's not here, or is he?
Bob Dylan.
Well, I was about to say, has anyone seen Chris Durham and Schrodinger's cat in the same room at the same time? Because
I have not.
Schrodinger cat. That's a very Schrodinger cat thing to say.
It is.
But anyway, all very quantum mechanical.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Johnny's mirth and hilarity was quite uplifting.
That shit was hilarious.
It was
to watch. I mean, the only way that could have been any funnier is if it were the Orange Man himself.
Yes.
Fucking run over by a Cheeto.
That's the only
Get out of my way.
China is going to get bulldozed.
China. Yeah.
Oh, there's Mallory. Hey, Mallory.
There is Mallory. Good morning, Mallory. She's yes.
How you like me now?
Yes. So it amazes me that somebody with that sort of judgment who in the heat of the moment thinks I'll just barrel over this kid.
Yep.
I'm going to treat this touch rugby game touch as an opportunity to level this kid,
touch rugby
drive
against children.
Yeah.
Against children. Anybody who thinks that that's the appropriate time to show off their rugby skills from when they were back at Eton or wherever the hell they went, no, it isn't. This is the time to just play with the little kids, so that they have this great story to tell. It's not the time for you to show off.
This little kid has a great story to tell.
He has a great story to tell. Yes.
Yeah, like after that scene in Beowulf, give him a gold coin and send him home. He has a story to tell.
I got run over by Boris.
Kid's like fucking traumatized for life. It's like,
assuming he even remembers it, there's this.
I don't know. That guy probably gave him a concussion. Hey, kid,
probably.
you okay? Huh?
It's all right. It's all right. Just have some tea.
Man.
Is how. And so, yes, we were. For those who missed it, all of this was on J.L. Warren's live stream yesterday, which you should go and watch because Johnny O's laugh certainly does wonders.
That shit was MasterCard priceless.
It was.
Is what that was. There you go, Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson, a little more Stephen Fry, a little less Vinnie Jones. That's what we need for today.
Oh man, that shit was great. Oh, wait a minute. I wonder if I can do this. Ooh, check this out. This is something. Okay, go away. What is this? Hang on.
I actually need to put a comment on that, like with a timestamp right at the moment, so people can just go straight to it.
Peter Flemberg says the best thing about it was Johnny O's laugh. It was, yes, like I say, very uplifting. And there was, yes.
That's because if Johnny O can laugh at anything like that these days, I think everything's going to be okay.
Yeah,
it was.
Be okay.
It was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Not the greatest thing, but it was definitely freaking hilarious.
And and you also, if you go and watch it, you'll get to see Atangelo debunking himself 3 or 4 times in relatively quick succession on a variety of levels, from the blindingly obvious, so obvious that you can miss it,
It was just
Johnny points
a
out.
wonderful stream. We didn't even have to debate him. He just wanted to
Yes.
he just like comes to the live chat. It's just,
Yeah.
and I mean the whole stream. I couldn't have planned something like that. I couldn't have. It was just it just flowed beautifully. It comes in. I do a cool intro. I talk to a theist dude for a while. Diesel. Talked to him for a bit. That was really super cordial. Then he had to go to church. I'm like, good to go. And then we move along. Then you jump in, Johnny jumps in. You jump in. The conversation's great. Otangelo comes in, just keeps fucking Special Olympics these things into the dirt. And that was a bad analogy. I probably should have made that analogy.
Yeah.
Sorry. But it's Otangelo. It just keeps throwing him in the dirt. And then Boris Johnson and your laugh. It just was brilliant.
Like I said,
we have been joined by
Huh?
Basic Trig. We have been joined by Basic Trig, who has contracted his name. So good evening to you, sir. But yeah, it was a great stream. It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, Otangelo, I think, probably didn't stay long enough to hear the explanation that it's not, this isn't, I don't want him to give up his religion. I just want him to give up the science bashing. That's all that needs to happen. And as long as he keeps science bashing, I'm going to keep calling him a liar, because that's what he is. That's what anti-science people are. If you come in and you start attacking the science and start saying the science says something that it doesn't, then you're just lying. That's all there is to it.
Something I'm kind of curious about, and given we have you here, PhD and everything, I've been trying to kind of wrap my head around a bit, and I have my own ideas. Why is there such this barrier? Why is it that a lot of theists think that science, as we understand it, with the predictive modeling we have, the experimentation we have, everything, all the hundreds of years, actually technically thousands of years have gone into this, but especially the advancements in the last 2 centuries, and then with the understandings we have about reality, why is it that is a barrier to theism? Why is it that they cannot be? Why is it that they are mutually exclusive in their minds?
Well, I don't think that it's. I don't think that what they're told. It goes to the way that their religion is taught. And I think at least some theists are taught that believe you can choose what you want to believe. It's not a matter of any evidence being there. It's not a matter of there being any sort of personal revelation. It's a choice you make. You either choose to believe or you choose not to believe. It's not this organic thing. It is an act. It is an act of will. And furthermore, if you choose to believe something, that will make you a good person. If you choose to believe the right thing, if you choose to believe the wrong thing, that makes you a bad person. But B, it will also make the situation better. If you choose to believe the situation will improve, society will improve, everything will be good. So these two axioms sort of combine to empower them, and they've become very resistant to the concept of analysis. And another drive-by. What is it this evening? Sleep well, Dora. But another drive-by comment for the algorithm. Thank you very much. Yes, have a good evening. But yeah, does that address your question?
Yeah,
that's how I see it. Anyway.
It's wild. That kind of thinking, obviously, from where we stand, that's just not going to get you anywhere. Especially when you're choosing to believe things, because if you start from that foundation that you're just going to believe in something, number one, I don't think that you can control what you believe. Like I can't will myself to believe that I can fly.
Yeah.
I can't. I couldn't. I couldn't will myself to believe in a God any more than I could will myself that I could, pick up my car like Superman. I can't do these things. I mean, I can't will myself to believe that. There's your beliefs are informed by what you know and what you understand. And
Well, I mean, but you go to church, you participate in these communal activities, you engage in this meditation, and it can feel good, right? You can feel good to be participating in a group. You get positive reinforcement, you get emotional validation, you get all of these good things from religion, and so you can, if the adults you grow up, if the adults who are, supervising you during your childhood react very positively to this, then you're likely to react very positively to this, and it can have very beneficial emotional effects. But I think
yeah,
that,
so can smoking ayahuasca at a smoke-filled yurt off of the fucking Canadian American highway or the Canadian Alaskan highway. Sure, I
I'm
can go
not
off
saying. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you're wrong. No, but you need to, and this is the thing that I think that the founding fathers were trying to get to, was that you need to understand, as convinced as you are of this, that this is all an emotional construct, and that you shouldn't be voting on, you shouldn't be basing your government on this, on
Agreed.
these intangibles, on this religion. And I think that people have forgotten that, and that they are very prepared to vote according to religious convictions, or assume that their religious convictions are universal laws that everybody must obey. And I think that that's actually the attitude that people were trying to combat in the formulation of the United States. Anyway, Johnny, you were in the throes of doing something, and I was trying to fill dead space while you were doing it.
You're just good. I was trying to get the so I've been working on Streamlabs a little bit. I think the problem that I'm running into is that that this particular overlay only works with my channel, because when I hit the pop out chat, it goes weird.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So that was what that was that popped up on the screen briefly there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this new thing that I'm working on, it gives me the opportunity when I do the pop out chat, it does a chat overlay. I can like highlight people's comments and I'll put them on screen like on StreamYards.
Yeah.
But I don't think it works because I'm on PhD Tony's channel, so it's not giving me the ability to do that, which sucks.
Right. I was saying what Trude Hell said. It's not mutually exclusive for all theists, but for the ones who want to take the Bible literally, they have to jump off quite a bit of reality to believe in, the flood, talking snakes, talking donkeys, burning bushes.
Exodus as a whole.
Yeah, pretty much the chapter of Exodus.
Yeah,
Revelation.
There's literally nothing that can hold any historical weight until the Babylonian captivity. In the Bible, absolutely nothing can be externally verified except for the existence of Jerusalem. Until you hit the mid first millennium BCE, there's no historical validity to this. Peter Flemberg asks, do people like Otangelo really think they can debunk science? I don't think that they think that, but I think that they're trying to deceive themselves, and this is part of what is dangerous about religion, is that it provides an incentive to not only deceive yourself, but also deceive those around you. Once you've deceived yourself, so they pick these pieces of evidence to buttress up their faith, and then they start presenting them to other people.
Yeah.
What you want to believe is your business, but don't if I can't stop you from deceiving yourself, right? I can explain to you how you're misinterpreting the science, but don't Chris Durham channel burning bushes sounds like a personal problem. But
They make a pill for that.
They if they don't, they say, oh, I thought it was more of a lotion. But
Maybe, yeah.
either way,
I think I have a
if they
cream for
don't,
that.
they certainly should. So yeah, I think that a lot of religious people deceive themselves, and this is part of what makes Matt Powell and Kent Hovind so successful, is that their marketing and dangerous is that they're marketing their bullshit to people who want to be lied to.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling the lies people want to hear to the people who want to hear them. It's capitalism at work. They're offering a service people are willing to pay for, so they pay for the service. The market is broken, and the market is dangerous. It's dangerous to the people involved, and it's dangerous to social fabric. So I just think that it's we've got to. There are points where it's always lotion with me. I told you that in confidence, basically. Okay. There's I think that's how I see it. But does that fit with what you guys see, JL?
With Otangelo specifically, I think Otangelo. I would be curious to get to know his pathology to find out why he acts the way he acts, because it wasn't difficult to point out the obvious inconsistencies with his argumentation. Like, he brought up two big pieces of evidence. One that was a little more veiled in debunking himself, because I forget what it was. There was a piece of some was it an astronomist, or I don't remember.
You talking about the quote? You talking about the citation that
when he quote mined? Yeah, when he quote mined, and PhD Tony went back and looked at it and said, "Okay, cool. I've got the entire quote up, and the conclusion of the paper suggests that what you're talking about is actually 200,000 years old. So how does that fit in with your 6,500-year-old young Earth?" And then, as he's trying to defend his position on the 6,500-year-old flat Earth, young Earth, he brings up another claim that the Earth's what was it, magnetic sphere?
Magnetic field, yeah.
Magnetic field was 10,000 years old. And
yeah.
I saw that and I'm thinking, hey, wait a second. How the fuck does that add up? We're 3,500 years off what you think the Earth is.
Yeah, so. Well, that's the other thing. They don't seem to understand the concept of error bars. Like, if we, you'll find Jason Lyle, for instance, who's a professional anti-science propagandist for Answers in Genesis, who has a PhD in astrophysics, and his speciality is comets. And he goes on about comets don't last forever. They burn up as the sun's rays ablate material from them to create their spectacular tails. While modern science says that there must be a source for them, an Oort cloud, there's remarkably little direct observational evidence, and it's just and he says the maximum time that these can exist is 100,000 years. Well, Yeah, but 100,000 is still more than 6,500. You know, you're not you're not actually validating your position, and you know their main objective is to try and suggest that that traditional geochronology, the age of the Earth at about 4.3 to 4.5 billion years, is wrong, and therefore their guess is as good as any other guess. If they can come up with some tenuous line of reasoning to suggest that it may be wrong, then that's all that happens, and it's just silly as far as I can say. Demon Orb has joined the chat. Greetings
Hey.
to you. And Trade Hell has an extremely appropriate quote: "For a man may be allowed to keep poisons in his closet, but not to send them about for cordials." From the great Jonathan Swift. Yes, and that's very, very important. And I think, yeah, like I say, I think that the founding fathers were trying to make that exact point. What you believe religiously has no bearing on how the country or the government ought to be run.
But it should be. That's the way I see it. I mean, you see the societal divides that that such dogmatic thinking can create. We definitely would not want that in our legislation, because that's all it's going to
Um,
really is. I mean, it's going to reflect itself in that.
yeah, it is. But uh, let's pretend that we're trying to come up with ways to entertain our devoted audience, aside from me nattering on about science and religion. What has been happening in the past week? I haven't seen any news or any. Um,
Um, well, the only big major thing going on currently right now in the states is that Louisiana up along the East Coast is about to just get smashed.
Yes.
Hurricane Ida's coming through. That's the one big event I think going on here.
Yep. Again.
Yeah.
well, it will happen. They're in the way.
Right.
And then of course the what is it? What can I even call it? The debacle, the insanity that is Afghanistan.
Yes, this is
Jeez. That's just.
God.
I mean, I wasn't a Trump fan by any twist of those words, but the way that Joe Biden has handled this Afghanistan thing has just been bumbling idiot comes to mind.
I actually wouldn't
It
even
has.
say I wouldn't even say bumbling idiot. I would say he doesn't give a shit.
That's what it sure seems like.
It's not bumbling idiot. This is not the actions of an idiot. This is the actions of a dude who I don't care. I want the people out of there. Damn the consequences.
Yeah, and
That's what it's coming off to me as.
yeah. And look, I get it. We don't need to be in there anymore. We've been there for 20 years, and if the Afghan people haven't figured out how to take care of their own problems, then sorry for you. I mean, I do understand that some of the issue is that we're there to also help kind of protect us because future Taliban it's not a good idea. Those aren't the people you want in power. But we can't be there forever. Just the way that we're just going to pull our troops out, fuck everything else. We're going to leave them with a lot of weapons and just I want to pull Sleepy Joe aside and say, dude, what are you thinking? What are you doing?
WTF,
Well,
WTF, dude.
at least part of it comes down to there are a couple of subtleties involved, and I don't think that they exculpate Joe Biden's treatment of the issue, but they do put it in a little bit of context. One, Donald Trump did undermine the Afghan government.
Sure.
When he had senior diplomats and senior government officials meeting with the Taliban, everybody's going, well, then what's the point of the Afghan government? Why are they a thing if this is where we're at? The other side of it is that the Afghan government didn't want put limits on the manner in which the US could handle their withdrawal. And the reality was that I don't think Joe Biden was given, the US military had made a habit of providing quite optimistic appraisals of the Afghan military's capabilities and dedication. So the fact is that the Afghan military weren't willing to fight to protect that government because they didn't like that government.
Yeah, I'm going to say I can't say that I blame him because at the first sign of trouble, the Afghan president just grabbed all the cash he could and took off.
Yes, which is one of the things that had left the attention of people in there, is that the Afghan government in charge was corrupt and it was not very popular.
Right.
And this is one of the things, like the US, this is very similar to many of the foreign policy mistakes that were made in Iraq and that were made in Vietnam. The US went into some other country and decided that they would choose a government that best fitted with the way the US perceived itself. And Crafty Keeler unlurks. I was keeping her secret. She let me know she was lurking in the chat, but she's dive bombed the chat. And it's the reality, the reality is, if you want to depose an objectionable regime and you think that it is to the benefit of the populace that happened, fine, but you've got to have a plan to make the lot of the average person in that country better, improve their infrastructure, and B, accept that they don't want to be your colony. You don't get to put in a government that's just a puppet for you. And every time you attempt to do that, it's going to end badly because the locals don't like it. Accept that the locals are not your pawns, and allow them to determine their own fate. So it's
if we would have went in there and said, hey, look, we're our biggest deal is taking care of the Taliban, and we did it, cool, boom, got rid of the Taliban. That never really happened, obviously. And continue to train their, the Afghan army, which we did. We did for it again, 20 years. It didn't try and say, hey, we need to put it in a, it's one thing to say, hey, we're going to give you a U.S. friendly government, but it's quite another to say we're going to put in a figurehead that's just there to rob the Afghan people blind of their money and, just be a mouthpiece for the United States. Come on, that's not how you build a nation.
Not just robbing the Afghan people, robbing U.S. taxpayers. Like, a lot of U.S. taxpayer money, was funneled into Iraq, and what happened to it? It ended up being siphoned off into the coffers of Halliburton and put in offshore accounts. There's this entire corporate infrastructure around profiteering off U.S. military adventures. And they do it quite well, and the local, corrupt locals can also make themselves rich off the back of, the money that is being thrown around by the US. The US government has been throwing billions of dollars at Afghanistan for 20 odd years,
since the 80s.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure if it was billions back in the day, back in the 80s, but yeah,
Well, no,
they've been
but I mean,
throwing money.
like if we were to total up the amount of money that we've spent
Yeah.
over in Afghanistan, specifically because they were the whole Russian thing. Yeah, like I said, there's been a lot of money that's been spent over there, and not once did we take the time to build a road or a school.
Yeah. And it's a, um, it is one of those things, where, it kind of, you need to, the West needs to, start accepting that a lot of these cultures are going to have a very slow transition into, into modernization. They've, one of the reasons that a lot of these cultures have survived is because they're deeply conservative, and of course they have a right to, preserving their own traditions and and considering their own interests ahead of those of the United States. There is a. It seems weird to me that, uh, uh, that the West is making these mistakes over and over, and to sort of step back a little bit, um, we're kind of, um, uh, you know, we're kind of trapped in the concept of, voters are trapped in the concept that the solution to every problem is simple, right? That, and so a politician like Donald Trump who comes up and says, it's simple, I'll just do this and everything will be better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it were that simple, it would already have been done, right? If it were that easy, rather than conclude, well, probably it isn't that easy, and this guy is a bullshit artist, people vote for him and throw money at him. And you're just going, you just accept that life is complicated and that issues aren't simple. Just accept that, and that anybody, when was the last time you heard the phrase, if it sounds too good to be true, it is?
Probably is, yeah.
Because that's what Donald Trump's entire political career was based around. Was just telling people stuff that was too good to be true. And hello, Tina Jones.
Hey, Tina Jones.
I greeted them in chat that Mr. Malort and Tony Regime are here. Thank you very much, good people. Great to see you. Yeah. So it's, it just, and this I think has been, sort of part of what I think has gone wrong with popular discourse, and I do think that religion is fundamentally to blame. Is people are trapped in this childish, simplistic thinking, that everything has to be, readily, readily solved. You don't need any complicated analysis. You don't need to think too much about stuff. Anybody who starts talking about details, they can be sort of hand waved away as some, geeky nerd who's divorced from reality, and you're with your simple, down-to-earth solutions, you're the person who can get the job done. And it's nonsense. I mean, it can occasionally turn out to be the case, but it is just, for the most part, it is just nonsense, and we need to accept all this. Anyway. So I've managed to drag us back. On the other hand, I'm not sure that American foreign policy failures was necessarily the funniest thing we could have discussed.
No, it's hilarious. Super hilarious.
I can see people rolling in the aisles in the chat.
It's always deep stuff when we do the Beardsman on Tony's channel.
It's true. It's true. Anytime Tony shows up, we're deep in it. We're deep in it. What we're in, I have no idea.
I hope you brought your galoshes.
Let's see here. I'm going to attempt to do something
What an
because
amazing guy. You can tell he really cares about what I have no idea.
all right. Just because this is freaking hilarious. I'm going to see if I can do this thing for everybody. Oh,
Into the video?
maybe.
Maybe.
Don't push the maybe, baby.
Oh, yes, I did lure Crafty in with this talk of social engineering and foreign policy. So she fell for it. She's now trapped in the chat there.
You're trapped.
But yeah, it's a weird. To me, to me, it all comes back to education. We need an educated. I don't think that democracy works if your voters aren't sufficiently well educated to and are sort of trained to understand how and sort of understand how to have a reasonable conversation about something.
Yeah, that's one of the more difficult things to do is have a reasonable conversation with somebody about this type of stuff. There's a lady in the background. I don't know what she's doing back there. Picking things up.
She's running things.
I think what she's doing is she's setting me up to fall and break my neck because, well, no, she has to wait 2 days. 3 days. She has to wait till the 1st.
3 days.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I think maybe she's playing the long game. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Is that when your life insurance kicks in or something?
Yep. It's not a lot, but it's enough to make you think.
Okay. Well, that's an achievement. It's an achievement in your case, Johnny. Let's just put it.
It is an achievement. Yeah. It's enough to. It's enough that. I mean, she won't live like a queen for the rest of her life, but she'll definitely live pretty comfortably. All right, let me get this up here.
There you are. You have to be, and at that point, you're kind of, optional.
That's true. Yeah. So I think she put like some sort of time bomb behind me that'll go off in about 72 to 78 hours ish. Take me out. One of them things.
You remind me of a scene from Invader Zim.
Oh.
Yeah, where this bomb goes off. Yeah, it's got the sort of Invader Zim. Boom!
Slow-mo, just for everybody because it added it automatically. That's Boris Johnson bulldozing a 10-year-old.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, man.
Doesn't get any better than that.
It does not.
The poor little kid. That was touch rugby. Touch rugby.
Yep. He touched him all right.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, man, the crap is funny. Sun never set on the British Empire.
Oh, man.
Oh, gosh. It's,
just fucking plows that kid.
He does. I think
He just clowns him.
I think he was like, at the time, I think he was like foreign minister or something. Like, I think
so it was his job to treat the other countries with respect, huh?
Yeah, it was his job to go around making a good impression on
Well,
other
he
countries.
certainly made a
an
good impression on that kid.
He made some kind of impression.
Yeah, yeah.
Tony Regine says Boris on the zip wire was funnier.
What?
Boris Boris taking the zip line. also ridiculous.
I haven't seen that one, so I'm going.
You haven't seen Boris on the zip line?
No,
He's stuck on a zip wire, huh?
Oh, right, he got stuck. Okay, great.
Okay, we're gonna watch this one too. What the fuck?
He's such a tool.
He is a complete doofus. You just wonder how did this simpering halfwit end up in a position of any responsibility whatsoever?
Good question.
Just waving his little flags like a little kid.
Yes, that's right.
Mommy, look! I can wave a flag. Jesus Christ!
What a halfwit. Anyway, yes. It's
Look over there, people. Look over there, people. You know who's in there?
In there?
Wankers. There was that's a reference to there was a video of I can't remember which Doctor Who star it was, but he was on one of the buses, one of the tour buses, and as they were driving by Marvel, and he was doing like the whole big touristy thing for all the big show for all the tourists, and then he pointed at Parliament, was like, and you see what's over there, people? You know who's in there? Wankers.
Look at this idiot. Hey, I'm waving the flags. Hey. Oh shit. Why is he doing this?
I can see what
This game was very, very well organised. What they do?
Yeah, they put a fucking idiot on the street.
Get me a ladder.
Well, he's substantially heavier than they are.
It's going well.
So he's made the line sag to the point that there's no downward gradient.
Look at this idiot. You gotta tug him back in. He's still waving his flag. What an idiot.
It was wonderful, and I thoroughly recommend it. I wouldn't want to have been on there up there all afternoon, but I think loads of people are going to enjoy it. I seem to turn around. I think that possibly what had happened was that they left a brake on or something. But anyway, it was wonderful, and I thoroughly recommend it. I hope you're going to do it later on.
They've attached a rope to him and pulled him.
It's coming, I think.
Well, but
there it is.
But he still had both of his flags, right? So he clearly put both flags away, attached the rope to himself, then got his flags out. And you're just thinking, perhaps attaching the rope, perhaps just drop the flag. Perhaps the flag waving at this point is kind of redundant and silly looking.
Yes.
Do you think?
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. No.
Oh my goodness.
There are just occasions where I wonder about the details of the decision making. Really, you think that keeping the flags is going to redeem this, right? It's going to make it look better, as opposed to just letting the flags go and getting on with solving the problem.
Oh man.
He got popular on Twitter, Tina Jones says, which is how he became PM. Yes.
That's just another reason why Twitter is for the devil. The devil. I'm a big boy and I can zip line.
Apparently, there are there are studies that are suggesting that actually new technologies are playing a part in the rise of influential political figures. Apparently, Hitler was one of the first people to talk on radio, and people decided that because he was talking on radio, he must be more persuasive because this was a new technology. This was something fantastic, and so and so if people are coming through on these new media platforms, they seem to enjoy a bump in popularity. They seem to be, the public seem to react to them as though they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, regardless of their actual qualities.
Hello, Elizabeth. Good to see you.
Hello, Elizabeth. Yeah.
Wow, Elizabeth Sylvester, good to see you.
We don't want to bring up discussion of pigs and British politicians' trade hell.
Well, that was an old episode of Black Mirror.
There's more recent.
Something happened?
Well, it was reputed that in order to get into a private club at university, David Cameron had to fuck a pig's head, and it's widely regarded as mythological. But people considered it at least plausible that David Cameron would fuck a pig's head in order to get into a club. So that's.
I do believe this is within the realm of what this person's character would do. I do believe I can see him doing this.
And so it may have been the inspiration for that particular episode of Black Mirror. And
that's funny.
Fuck a goat. Why was it gotta be fucking goat?
leave the goats out of this.
Oh, sorry, Crafty.
Crafty Keeler says Cameron admitted it. Okay. Well, I'm not going to claim to have expertise. I know that some people have been cautious about accepting the sexuality of it.
Bark, 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 bark.
Yes. Assert dominance, Johnny. Assert dominance. Yeah. So it's it was a very so pigs and British politicians, just let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Apparently mixed very well.
Yes. Why kick a moo cow? We've been there. We have been. We have been to Boris Johnson's touch rugby adventures. Yes, and Tina Jones. Yeah, it was one of those stupid university club things. One of their initiation processes, and apparently that's a psychological thing, right? Apparently, the more problematic, the more effort you make somebody go through in order to join a social group, the more value they place on the social group, the less dispassionate they are about the social group. So, there have been these psychological studies that if you make people, fill out multiple forms, reveal embarrassing details about themselves, etc. If you humiliate the person as part of making them sign up for a seminar, they will think that the seminar is more valuable. It's an interesting feature of apparently you justify to yourself the fact that you went through this by increasing the value of whatever it is that you're seeing.
Interesting psychology, the way it works, the barrier for
It
entry.
is in,
Yeah, how we
yeah,
justify these things. Wild though. So Johnny has stepped off in order to go deal with his dogs because apparently Mama Tega is vacuuming and driving the dogs insane.
okay. Waikika Mukau says that there is also a soccer adventure for Boris.
Boris
sure
plays
they mean,
soccer.
I'm
Or
sure
football.
they mean. I'm sure they mean football. Dr. Osiris. Yeah. I think you know, and in ANA had greetings, people. Yeah, I went through and I pruned back on mods, not out of not out of any particular malice. I was just, you know, I just redrew the boundaries on where on having mods around.
Tighten the reins.
Tighten the reins like that. This was back, you know, a few months ago, and I apologize for if anyone is offended by where I redrew them. But you know, I was handing out mod wrenches to everybody, and it occurred to me that some of these people I didn't particularly know that well. I'm a bit surprised that Dr. Osiris fell in that list because I've seen him quite a bit, but you know, or in a NA. And I'm not exactly sure what the circumstances was or what I was thinking, because you two are people that I do trust with mod wrenches. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's like, I don't know. Anyway, yes. Good night, Crafty. Sleep well.
Yeah, apparently she's got work here shortly.
NA, no, you didn't piss me off, but there was you know, we had all the drama in the, we had all the sorry, I think yeah, not sure why Mr. Malort made the cut. Perhaps you just weren't in the chat when I was revising my mod. I went through the chat one night and I thought, okay, I need to redraw the boundaries here, because I've got a few people who turn out, you know, there were a few people I did give mod wrenches to that were complete dicks, and Dr. Osiris and NANA aren't in any sense, and never did anything to annoy me. It's just that I sort of realized, you know, I'm actually a bit vulnerable here to some people I don't really know. So I decided to draw a line. Decided to redraw the lines, but because I think, you know, we have had some experiences on, you know, on Demon's channel, for instance, with some people and mod status, you know, being granted mod status and not really understanding the dynamics that were going on.
The importance of it, because you know, I mean, these people that obviously we trust, and like all like my mods, I trust them all. I do have a lot of people who are mods, but I think they've proven themselves in my eyes. But yeah, there's got to be that bridge you cross, and I think by virtue of that, I've interacted directly with so many of them, because yeah, I want to cultivate, you know, as personal relationships as I can with the people that support my channel and get to know them and their stories and everything. And just because I've gotten to know so many of them that, well, there are a lot of mods. Yeah, you know, you do have to be careful. You have to, you know, you don't have the time to sit there and dive into everybody, because, you know, either content creating or you're working. Then yeah, you've got to be on the safe side. Otherwise, we'll see what happened on Demon's channel again.
Yes, and yeah, Mr. Bellotti is right here. You know, sort of there's a. I drew a level, and I was consistent when I drew the level, and you know, the people above that are people whose you know, it's not that I have particular objections to people who aren't mods, and you know, but I tried to set a very high standard of people I did trust, implicitly, so that there could be no problems. And I did that, not because of anything that any of my mods had done, but because of stuff that I had seen on other channels. So, that's the way I've chosen to do it. This is another case where, Jessica G was quite vocal about the fact that mod wrenches shouldn't be handed out so frivolously. And then a bunch of stuff happened, and you go, she was right the whole time, which is not the first time I've had that thought, but yeah. The Fat Turk says, but Adam debunked you with secret crane driver science. Yeah, it is. Well, more mystery crane driver science, I think. It's a mystery to me how he comes to the conclusions that he does. He is a very strange man. Good old Level Earth observer. The stuff that he says is axiomatic. In order to debate him, you have to prove that large bodies of water don't curve. Well, they don't, and we can prove it. And you're basically just refusing the proof. Yeah.
Wait, large bodies of water
don't curve. They don't have curvature on their surface. They're flat. Water is flat, basically.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, I seem a little bit
Mr.
lost about
Lord.
that because don't they curve with the shape of the Earth?
Well, all fluids respond to the forces that are applied to them.
Yeah.
So, they'll form water will form a ball under the effects of surface tension, for instance, or under various other effects. And so because gravity is spheroidal, the gravitational equipotential surfaces are nearly spheroidal. Therefore, any fluid is going to assume a spheroidal geometry. It's that simple. True hell. More than 60% of born-again Christians between the ages of 18 and 39 believe that Jesus, Buddha, and Muhammad are all equal in regards to a path to salvation. Well, that's a weird. In what sense are they Christian? I guess is that
odd.
Is the yes that makes them sort of vague, the vague uncommitted theists. That's what I'm doing. I do hope that I have not unduly offended Mr. Malort, but standards are standards, and I'm not going to apologize. Anyway.
That's right.
You bow to no one.
60% of born-again Christians between the ages of...
Yeah, we went through that. That makes them weird, weird hippies more than anything else. 60% of born-again hippies don't know what Christian means. There's another way to...
That's the damn truth.
Craft Tequila's never going to get any sleep if we keep tagging her in the chat. Oh. What's that? I haven't slept in 2 days. This being a bachelor type thing, sleeping like a bachelor is not fun. I don't know how people do it.
Get in bed and go to sleep.
Yeah, I can't do that right now, Jail Warren.
Oh, that's right. You're I'm sorry, I just saw what Mr. Malort typed. Okay, I'm gonna go sit in my running car in the garage now.
Okay. Well, I kind of think that we've changed the way car exhausts work, right? And I'm not sure that car exhausts are actually effective as suicide mechanisms anymore. Not
It
sure
just
that
takes
they...
a either really small garage or a
Yeah.
really long time.
Just the amount of carbon monoxide output is not the same.
Right.
Yeah, they've significantly reduced the amount of carbon monoxide, and so it takes a lot more effort to reach lethal levels. But you will end up a very bright red/pink. I believe I've mentioned it before, but the world's most silent train disaster was a carbon monoxide poisoning incident. A Bolzano train disaster, I think it was.
He says, "Oh, ruin that too."
Can't even do this.
I'm just trying to be helpful, right? Just trying to save you some time in it.
I bet it's an electric car.
I was trying to break the news and break the bad news in a good way. Well, you failed miserably. How about if
Hey,
you
Charlie Welsh.
bad news in a good way?
Hey, Charlie Welsh. We were saving all of the funny stuff until after Crafty went to bed and you arrived. So
Yep.
you haven't missed anything, except of course Boris Johnson hilariously barreling into Japanese kids.
You did miss, yeah.
You did their best.
That's pretty.
That is eternal, though. You can go and watch that at any stage.
Yep, you sure can. At any stage, including this one.
Now I
Oh,
but now
man.
I have that.
How courageous was the kid, though? Like, yeah, I'm just gonna.
Shoulder check.
Poof, motherfucker.
Oh dear, Boris.
That kid's college education is paid for.
It is paid for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, rugby is the Japanese take rugby quite seriously, and in fact, you can get university scholarships on the basis of your rugby rugby skills. And when the first time I visited Japan, there was actually a scandal in that some university entrance exam results were being manipulated so that good rugby players could get in. Yes, so it's a so that it's surprising to me, but they're quite keen on it.
Interesting.
I have never watched a game of footy, and I don't think I'm missing out on anything.
I've never watched
Rugby.
a game of footy.
Oh, you should certainly watch some rugby. You should certainly watch seven-a-side. The US is, I think, one of the dominant seven-a-side teams in the world at the moment. Like apparently America and Canada.
Fuck out of here. Anytime anybody says that Canadians are good at a sport, I automatically think they're full of shit. Unless it's hockly. And that's because of the finish.
They're pretty amazing in curling.
Well, there's actually I think it turns out to be the sprinting, right? So
that makes sense.
You get the
sorry guys.
Canada and the US both have very intense university athletics programs, so you produce a lot of sprinters, and actually 7-a-side getting the ball and running really fast turns out to be a huge advantage. Not so much in 15-a-side, where you actually need some other skills as well. But in 7-a-side, it turns out that it's most of what you need to do is just grab the ball and run very fast.
Excuse me, eh? I need to get by you. And that's how you kill that shit.
Yeah, well, I've just noticed that curling has exploded in the.
Well, that's because I said Canadians pretty damn good at curling. We're gonna get in that.
Yeah. The fat turks bring the fat.
What is that? What is that lukewarm response?
I'm distracted. The Canada plays cricket. I was about to reintroduce a fascinating factoid. The first international cricket game was played between Canada and the United States. There you are. Back in 1844.
Who won?
Canada did. I'm pretty sure.
Canada.
And
Tony threw out the first pitch.
No, I did not. Because we don't have pitches.
Oh, sorry.
You got it.
And we don't throw them, we bowl them. They're called deliveries. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. So basically what you're telling me is you're a bunch of FedEx drivers. I got it.
And, yes.
So, Johnny, the way to school.
Yes. Yes, Johnny. He'll think twice before he chooses to opine on cricket in my presence.
Sick burns from the sick burn meister himself.
That's exactly right.
Johnny's over here like, cricket? Nobody understands cricket. You gotta know what a crumpet is for you to understand cricket.
Oh, jeez.
Yes. He does pay for his impudence by being. There is actually that is actually a Chris Durham music channel. Baseball didn't become the dominant bat and ball sport or stick and ball sport in the US until about World War One or soon thereafter. Cricket was more popular and more widely played in the 19th century.
Sorry. It was just it's basic trick. It's basic trick's comment. If I ever need to move a big stone down some ice with some brooms, I will contact you. This seems like a job for a Canadian.
For a Canadian.
Hello, Phil Bell. Prof. Phil Bell is in the chat.
Yep. And he's throwing some fire too. Look at him. I don't think Americans can play cricket. No, we play real sports, Professor Phil Bell.
There was an real sport where the World Series consists of two American teams.
Okay, so you know that all these teams are about as American as America gets, right? None of these players are from America. They're all from Cuba and Dominican Republic and Ecuador and Japan and all that shit. So yeah.
But I have an interesting, I thought it was interesting anecdote about the Division C cricket tournament, global cricket tournament from a few years ago, where the top two teams in the division would get promoted. And the three contenders were America, Nepal and Singapore. And so America was playing Nepal, and it became clear that America was going to win, and win sufficiently emphatically that Nepal's net run rate, their statistics were going to drop and going to put them behind Singapore. And people were able to calculate this and work it out in real time. And so, the game was being played in Nepal. And they rioted. They were so unhappy that they rioted, which caused the game to be suspended. Things calmed down, and then they restarted the game. But if you lose time out of the game, the scores that you need to win change, and that changed the damage to Nepal's net run rate, so that it wasn't anywhere near as bad. So they still ended up above Singapore, and so because the Nepalese crowd rioted, Nepal made it through to the promotion round and got bumped up. And I kind of think that's precision rioting, right? You need to. There's a certain amount you need cut out of this game, but it's this much, and then okay, and we're done. Everybody off the field. That's kind of how I think that it must have gone. But kudos if you can arrange a high precision riot. Good for them.
I guess all
There's
good
a
riots,
puppy. Yes.
I guess all good riots have a purpose.
Yeah.
Oh.
Uh,
Americans are scared of fast bowlers, so they play softball. What?
yeah.
Yeah, the ladies play softball. They're pretty goddamn
yes.
good at it too. The thing that always gets me about, like, you listen to some of these idiot ass men that we have in this country talking about, oh, it's only 60 feet away and it's underhanded and blah 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 blah, and it's not as fast as a fast pitch as a baseball pitch and all that stuff. And I'm okay. You stand in the box and see if you can fucking even get contact with an underhanded 70-mile-an-hour fucking softball pitch.
It's underhanded, but they get to step in a different way.
Right.
And they've got this way of moving their weight forward. They get a lot of speed on the ball.
And a lot of movement. It's crazy. There were, I think, who was it? It was, I forget what the baseball player's name was, but he was doing a demonstration on one of the ESPN sports channels, one of their shows, and they had a picture from the women's softball team, I think it was the Olympic women's softball team, and he was like, yeah, hitting a softball underhanded, you think, oh, it's super simple. No, it's tough. The ball is generally, for most baseball players, the ball will be in the catcher's mitt before we even think about swinging, because the dynamic is so different. Yeah,
and the timing is off. You can't just go from baseball to softball, and the speed of those pitches. One of the things, however, in that distinguishes cricket from baseball is that it's perfectly acceptable to bowl a ball at the batsman's body, and the batsman has to sort of deal with it. And so nowadays we wear helmets, but back in the day you didn't get helmets, and you had some fairly dodgy pitches, so it was hard to predict where the ball was going to go. So there is an element of physical risk involved with cricket that Phil Bell was referencing, and I know you can occasionally get pitchers who just decide to be a batsman or accidentally being a batsman less frequently, but it's perfectly acceptable in cricket to just bowl at a batsman, and to do so a couple of times. Actually, if you can hit the armpit, if you can hit them on the rib cage right here, you're allowed to do that every delivery if you want. We've had a couple of people join the chat, Clive Wells and Jeff Roberts.
Mm.
So we've got 3 real people.
Yeah, what's that like?
Three real
It's a
people.
trifecta.
Yeah.
We have what is
Professor
Phil Bell's doctorate in? What are you a doctor of, Professor Bell? I know it's some sort of numbers thing.
Actually, I think he's a chemist by training, isn't he? That was my understanding. Elizabeth Sylvester, we just talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about.
It's really, there's never any kind of agenda on these shows.
There's never really any system to it. You know, sometimes we remember that there are people in here listening to this who might want to be entertained, but often we don't remember that,
right?
And we just babble to one another.
This is like, this is the shit that we would talk about if all 4 of us were at a bar somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. So if you were expecting sort of profound insights into the nature of reality or debunking or you're in the wrong place, really. For starters, I'd give YouTube a miss. If you're looking for profound content, just give that. Just skip to something else. We just we're welcome. We're open to we're open to people throwing out topics that we can talk about. I mean, I don't want to go too much further in
sports,
into cricket, but more seriously, actually, it's a joke, so it's not serious at all. I don't want to discuss too many of the ways Mr. Malort might choose to suicide. I think having dismissed the car, it's just a. Particle physics was Phil Bell's.
So we have a particle physics guy.
Physicist. Yes.
Particle physicist, I know, but it sounds better when I say particle physics guy. And then I can say we have a glacial isostatic adjustment guy. And then Clive Wells, you're a mathematician, correct?
Clive Wells is a physicist.
He's a physicist? Okay.
Theoretical physicist.
Theoretical physicist. So we have a theory physics guy. We have 2 physics guys and 1 isostatic guy.
I'm geophysics would be the geophysics is sort of what would be on my PhD.
I see. So lots of physics guys.
Yeah. Well,
what's the matter? You guys couldn't get in dental school?
Yeah, that's right. We're failures.
Failures at dental school. Yep.
Yeah.
I just couldn't afford to go get my PhD.
It's they're
stupid expensive over here.
Yeah, well, you kind of need to have a scholarship unless you're
independently wealthy.
Yeah, unless you're sort of absurdly wealthy, or you can go to a degree, a diploma mill in the way that Kent Hovind did.
Yeah, I could do the Kent Hovind route and just buy my doctorate and we could do whatever. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Mr. Morris he's gonna wear his MAGA hat to the next teacher union meeting. That's how he's planning on. Permanently.
That'll be spectacular at least.
That's one way to permanently take a nap.
Maybe close to a snake expert. That's a herpetologist, isn't it?
Is it?
Isn't that the name they? Yeah.
It's not a Slytherin.
So. It's not a Slytherin, and you make me feel angry that I even know what a Slytherin is.
Why?
But I think
because PhD Tony hates literature. That's right.
Well, that's right.
Oh, Charlie Wells actually asked us a really interesting question. I think it's something that everybody, PhD Tony, did you ever change your academic path when you were in college?
Yeah, I did. So, I was best at chemistry when I was in high school, and it quickly became clear to me that university chemistry was a very different thing, and I now regret having enrolled in it at all, and I should have done physics instead. Because I did physics, I did chemistry, mathematics, and computer science, and I didn't enjoy either chemistry or computer science. So
That's an interesting question. What does non-physicist Tony look like?
Well, if I had to completely give away mathematics, I would have gone into history, I think. I would have become, that's what I would have liked to have studied, is history.
So stuffy either way. Gotcha.
Stuffy.
I would have, yeah.
Wherever direction you go, you're going to wind up with pads on your elbows. with pads on your elbows.
Tweed jacket, elbow pads, and a peep.
Yes. Yeah.
A long stem peep.
That would be rather too much like my dad for me to be comfortable. Like he did the entire elbow pads and pipe stuff. But yeah. So I wasn't going to end up like that. Geology rocks. Yes. Yeah.
Please, Mr. Purcell. Mr. Purcell is my father.
Well, he was Dr. Purcell too, but he's a medico, so yeah, it's that leads to I remember once at some gathering, somebody rushing up to me and going, "Are you a doctor?" And I thought, "Yes." A medical doctor? No, I'm not. So apparently somebody had just fainted, and then they're going, "Oh, yeah, I am a doctor, but not in the sense that you think." Anyway.
Hey, NA, don't diminish what you do. Painting bathtubs is important work too. Somebody's got to do it, and yeah, it's respectable work. Or it's something to scoff at, according to PhD Tony.
Well, not particularly. I mean, it's not any more scoff-worthy than you guys.
Oh, PhD Tony.
Sigh. It's one of my talents.
Lay-sigh.
That would be, yeah.
I am curious,
I would
Tony.
still be an arrogant prick. Yes.
I am curious. How far away are you from monetization?
300 hours.
Yes, 300 hours.
Just 300 hours, that's it?
Yeah, that's it. Well over on subscribers, and people. I make appearances, and people go and subscribe on that basis. But yeah, it's view hours that's the problem.
The viewing time. All PhD Tony needs is the view time to get monetized. And I seriously thought that I was going to be the last of the Beardsmen to get monetized. I did. So I'm blown away that that I managed to eke it in there. But I know that some of the amazing people and the amazing listeners that we have, the amazing audience that we have out there, helped to push me just right over. When I was in that last little leg, that they helped us out. So maybe they will be willing to help out and push you just right over that threshold. Put it.
Well, that would be very kind of them.
A few playlists over. Just let it run.
Okay. Well, it's the issue. The issue is that sort of this I just haven't been sort of producing any output recently.
That's okay.
Because,
It'll happen.
you know,
It
just
happens
haven't
when you
been.
get older.
Yes.
Sometimes you just can't get it produced.
Done.
Yeah, you can't crank it out the way you used to.
Sometimes it's more of a hold up than a stick up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the other way of putting it.
Sometimes linguine is not exactly al dente.
So yes, good night, Trudell. Trudell, however that's pronounced. Good night, and yeah. Well, Tina Jones is helping out with another of my vids on mute. That's the safest way to do it, Tina. Particularly if you happen to be near any equipment.
Well, if you're going to be operating heavy equipment, yeah.
However,
is
it is a part of the holistic prescription for insomnia.
For insomnia, yeah, exactly. Matter of fact, I spoke to my doctor the other day about my insomnia, and he says, "How can you be an insomniac?" I said, "Well, because I don't." He says, "No. I've seen your podcast."
Oh, there you go. I mean,
fucking guy.
He hadn't seen mine. Like, you know, what are his standards here? Because
apparently he only likes Joe Rogan.
Oh, really? Okay.
I guess. Elizabeth says I cleared out my fridge, freezer, deep cleaned them, and cleaned the kitchen with 2 hours. I went grocery shopping for healthy food. Yeah, buddy. All right.
Nice.
I need to do that. Get rid of all the crap in this house and start eating not crap.
Joe wonder why sun rise in west every morning. You tell Joe. I don't know if any of you remember. If you guys remember that meme. Every time I hear Joe Rogan, I always think of that deal as like Joe, like he's just some like buffed up berserker warrior who just has deeper thoughts about the universe. But Joe no understand universe. You explain to Joe. Joe wonder why sun rise in same place every morning. You tell Joe now.
It's I have to say, Joe does some good things in the way he runs his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't seem to ask particularly insightful questions or make insightful points. Like he had, some right-wing pundit and two of the people from Twitter on, and the right-wing pundit was complaining about stuff that had been said about him, and the Twitter the Twitter person goes, well, what do you want? Do you want us to decide what is accurate or not? Do you want a private corporation deciding that? And they've gone no, and just gone, well, so nobody's going to make that decision. It's not the question of what do you want, it's the question of, is there an option that is better than what we have at the moment, right? Because if I asked you, do you want the government deciding what's true or not on a social media platform, you're going to answer no to that. So but do you want somebody providing some guidance on what's true or not on social media? And I think it would be advantageous to society as a whole if we did have organizations who were fact-checking social media posts. But
great.
Anyway, yeah, North Korea is just horrible, more horrible than you can easily imagine. There, Charlie Welsh.
So it's kind of funny you were talking about Joe Rogan and then North Korea.
Yeah.
Just hard right.
Well, Charlie Welsh says Joe Rogan's episode with that chick that escaped North Korea was absolutely shocking. I knew it was bad there, but Jesus Christ, it's way worse than I ever knew. Yeah, it's you should look at their hotel of death. One of the things that they tried to do was build a large, a massive hotel in Pyongyang, is it? And in the process, they destroyed the economy. Led to the collapse of agriculture, and induced a famine. And they didn't really finish it. They may have come closer in recent years, but there's this, the people die in large numbers to put up a hotel. That's how bad North Korea is. It's worse than you can think.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go. That's the thing. I'm not
This
going.
went to a place.
This went dark. Elizabeth Sylvester had 3 showers today. My goodness, I need a shower. Maybe help wake me up.
Well, I mean, what can be done other than? I mean, I'm curious. What can I know that there are humanitarian groups that are fighting like hell to try and help people in the situations to get them out of North Korea, and I get that. That there's work to be done, and there are people who are fighting for this. But ultimately, other than allowing the country to just strangle itself out of existence, until it's literally become so weak that the people can rise up and do something. Is there any other option there? They've cut themselves off so much.
Yeah. So one of the main thing that would bring down, the North Korean government, or the Taliban, for instance, or noxious theocracies in the Middle East, is just exposure to Western media, Western values, Western products. So if you can make these things available, and just normalize them, over time you'll see cultural shifts. I think the most effective weapons, would be things like television, media, McDonald's and Coke, or Pepsi. But it's they're a and greetings to Skits Crasher, who has joined the stream. Yeah, nobody believes the Taliban, and nobody believes that the Taliban isn't going to be noxious and murderous. But ultimately, you need to take a long-term view of these social processes in order to change them. You don't come in and try and sculpt them into what you want. You sort of expose. You just say, look, here's some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Blue Marble Science, who's been, absolutely laying waste to Nathan Oakley, Quantum Eraser, and friends over on his channel.
Nice.
Anyone not subscribed to Blue Marble Science is being a fool to themselves and a burden to others. Same goes for Phil Bell. If you're not subscribed to him, he's doing some work on sextants, I think, at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Which, God alone knows how flippers even come to the conclusions that they come to. This couldn't work on a spheroidal. It's based completely around a spheroidal Earth. I don't even know what you think you're babbling about.
I mean, we can legitimately say, come on. At this point, I understand that, that they got their stuff going on, but Flat Earth is fucking dead. It's dead. It's done.
It is. Sorry, Johnny, why don't you?
No, I'm enjoying the. It's Flat Earth is dead. It's the stupidest fucking thing. I just don't understand why in a day and age when we have technology that allows me to speak across the world with somebody in Australia, that we're having a discussion about the shape of the fucking earth. Not us specifically, but just, in general, that there are people out there that are, oh, hey, come on, guys. This is done. We've got pictures, there's all the evidence, and it's just so stupid. It's stupidest conversation.
There's to think there's no position on this, just like there's no position on the temperature at which water freaking boils.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's freaking demonstrable. That's why I'm glad to see that it's done. I really am. I'm glad to see that we're past it. That it's literally so dead. It's just the scan. I mean, I think I have no idea what Simon Dan is going to do. I mean, thankfully he has
Tinfoil
Tuesdays, and he can swing off into other things. I see him swinging into religion as well. Because I see more and more of those types of videos coming up that he's swinging over into the atheist camp, and because I think that's where Flat Earth is going. I mean, it's like,
yeah. Well, I think Simon Dan has been trying to get out of Flat Earth for a while. He keeps on asking his viewers, do we want to keep doing this? And his viewers keep on telling him yes, that's what we want. So that's why he keeps on doing the Flat Earth fail compilations.
So what you're saying is we just keep breaking our own bones. That's what it is.
Yes. And it's just a like team got out of Flat Earth, and MC Toon is moving into MC Toon has these 5G denialists, and he'll move into other anti-science anti-science people. It's it's just a the thing that gets me is just the depth of anti-science, just their dedication to it. Because if this can persist, if this can be made a sustainable business model, then there's literally no bullshit that cannot continue.
Yeah, right. And that's kind of the thing about it. I don't understand why. Well, I do understand why. I mean, it's definitely a grift for some of these people, but it's the ones that don't recognize con men, that get conned.
Yes.
They get wrapped up in the grift, and they actually truly believe this stuff.
That's why I've really enjoyed that aspect of what I do on my channel. I really, really dig pointing out and exposing the hypocrisy of a lot of these people. And I think that at least the audience that I built so far, they appreciate that, look at it, and saying it's like, oh, if you actually dive into the details behind these individuals, start asking the right questions, like John MacArthur, or who said John MacArthur sits at the pulpit and is like, yeah, the prosperity gospel is these money grubbing new age cults of Christianity, while he's
grubbing money
while he takes in $70 million a year tax free. And has a $4 million ranch in Colorado, along with a $700,000 villa in Santa Clarita, and a $1.5 million house just outside Santa Clarita. So it's not fooling anybody. So exposing these things to that point, I think, is what's important. Is leveling the playing field.
And I mean, the prosperity gospel actually runs directly counter to the content of the Gospels. I mean, it's and to the original ideals of Christianity, which were based around the whole concept of charity and eschewing material wealth and prosperity in the physical world. A couple of interesting comments have come up in the chat. Clive Wells points out that Fight the Flat Earth is still getting quite good viewing figures for his debates. Yes, and it's a, and it's true. He gets many hundreds of people. Like 500 people would, I think, be a low turnout at maximum value. And I mean, it's always sobering to me when somebody 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 shows up on, one of the First Amendment auditors shows up on his channel and says, well, I've got these videos. They get, people are watching them. I'm providing a public service. And Schrodinger's cat goes, oh, you get what? 300 views? Gone, well, I'd be quite happy with 300 views. Cat. Kind of putting me in my place. But yeah, and Chris Durham points out that for the casual viewer, flat Earth is easy to laugh at, but more dedicated viewers are sick of it. And I think that's a very insightful comment. Like, if you're only viewing FTFE and you're only viewing one flat Earth discussion a week, then perhaps it drops to moderate levels. But even then, they're just so repetitive and annoying, right? They don't come up with anything new. They just try and debunk they just try to run their script and refuse to engage with reality.
Yeah.
I saw something similar on Aaron Ra's channel yesterday. He had a discussion with Bible teaching for the win, or biblical something, Bible something for the win, who sounded a lot like that Australian guy that you debated on Johnny's channel. Do you remember who that was?
Oh,
Australian guy.
What was his name? The pigeon.
Oh, Philip Cornelis Amon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call him the pigeon.
Stop interrupting, stop interrupting, stop interrupting, stop interrupting, stop interrupting. Fucking guy.
So there was a guy who sounded very much like him, talking to Aaron Ra, and after a while Aaron Ra's just gone, you're not, all you're doing is making the same claims over and over that, it's necessary for me to debunk you. No. You have to suggest that there's a claim worth debunking before I need to put any effort into it whatsoever. And he was just, and he's gone, look, this conversation isn't going anywhere. We're done. I kind of wish that more of these exchanges ended up in that way, because they don't make any honest attempt to get anywhere. And either they end up repeating the same point over and over and over and over again and refusing to budge for it, or they end up galloping from one discussion. They want to talk about gravity, but as soon as you get into the details of discussing gravity, they want to talk about something else. Or anything.
Well, they can't really speak about it at length. You start diving into it. It's kind of like I get the same thing on the atheism side when people start saying, well, what comes before the Big Bang explosion? It was like, or what caused the Big Bang explosion? And I say, okay, well, look. And I start diving into the intricacies of what the Big Bang actually is, how we mathematically quantify certain various things, how we extrapolate things in the model, and start going into it. And they say, well, obviously, I mean, we didn't all come from monkeys. And like, okay, the two things are not even remotely connected in that way, but they'll want to dive off because they only know like the surface things they've been told.
Just the talking points. It's the bullet points. Yeah.
So we start. I mean, if you want to refute, Big Bang cosmology, then you got to refute like redshift. I mean, come on. Are you?
Well, it's the whole thing. The whole thing is like that. Yes, there are portions of science where we're still learning stuff, or where our understanding is not as complete, not anywhere near complete enough for us to make statements with certainty.
That just means
but,
that just means that all of reality could change. You don't know.
But-
It could all change in a heartbeat.
but at no stage in human history has the "we don't know what's going on, therefore God did it" been a productive answer, right? At no point has that happened. So why are you suggesting that it would happen now? And it just seems silly. Like it's a pointless form of argument. Daryl M says he's a monkey. Good, hello, Daryl M. And I noticed S. Thurston too joining the chat. Greetings. The fact checks say it is entertaining watching smart people versus silly people.
Right.
Only for a while.
We're not monkeys. We're apes.
Yeah. That's another thing.
We are
taxonomically. Right?
We are monkeys, as well as apes. Apes are monkeys too. They're just a subdivision of monkeys. So you want to in the terms that monkeys with tails cladistically came first, and we're an offshoot of those. So we don't stop being monkeys.
A really big offshoot.
Yes, we are a really big offshoot, but in a cladistic sense, we are monkeys. In the modern parlance, just like we're eukaryotes, right?
I know some of those words.
You have not been doing you have not been doing your homework, people.
I know those words. Eukaryote, they carryote.
She carryote. Wait a minute.
We carryote.
We carryote. We're talking about the Quakers, right?
Oats. Like, I can speak French. French
toast, French fries, French bread.
There you go.
Oh, jeez.
And yes. Yes. Tony
Exactly.
Reggie points out that monkey and ape are the same word in French, and Basic Trig says givens are apes with tails. There you go.
I watched a video where a bunch of baboons beat up an alligator or a crocodile. That was pretty cool.
Yes. It turns out, have you seen those otters taking on the Amazonian otters? Apparently.
Oh, the giant Amazon, fucking. Oh yes, giant otters, and they dominate pretty much everything.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
No, they're very good. No, NANA. We're not related to rodents, and one of the rodent, the classification of rodents arose after. So what makes a rodent now? They didn't have those characteristics when before we branched away from them. So we're branched from something that's slightly earlier than that. Really, I cannot suggest enough that people watch Aaron Ra's excellent series on phylogeny, where he discusses how we are all eukaryotes. And, I can only apologize to the chat for my co-hosts not having done the homework that I recommended. I thought that they would set a good example for the class, but obviously my faith in their diligence was misplaced.
We are rebels.
I'm not angry. Well,
Without
yes,
causes.
I am angry.
He's angry. We've angered PhD Tony. JL, we should do the homework.
Yes. But honestly, Aaron Ra produces absolutely fantastic and really
very well researched.
Very well researched, and so if you want to better understand evolution and the processes that apply to evolution, I would thoroughly recommend Aaron Ra. If you want a more detailed understanding of abiogenesis, I can think of no better source than Professor Dave's episodes on that. And if I think of it, I might put some links in the description afterwards, because his Professor Dave is obviously very good, but his abiogenesis series I really like.
I just could not get down with his OChem stuff. That he just loses me every time. Organic chemistry.
Yeah, and that's he does dive quite sharply into into some very technical terms, but yeah. Sam, what branch of the family stump does Flurfs come from?
Well,
so there's a class of parasites called nematodes, and I think that they're an offshoot of that. That's my understanding of it. It's they're somewhere around that level.
Clive Well says, "I'm not angry at JL and Johnny, just disappointed in them."
Somehow it hurts more. So I'm just disappointed. Ow.
Who was that? Who was that? Dave, not Dave Chappelle. Who was that? It was Damon Wayans was talking about how being a father to a boy versus being a father to a girl is completely different. Like the conversations he has when it comes to discipline is so much easier with his daughter, because he can go to his daughter and be like, "Oh, I'm just really disappointed in you," and she would take that to heart and be like, "Oh, I can't believe I disappointed Dad. I'm so sorry. I'll fix it." All this stuff. And he says, "I'll try that same tactic with my son." He says, "Son, it's really disappointed in you." And he goes, "Well, just wait till you find out the other shit I did."
Yes, there have been some comments. Some people have suggested that it's the fungi covering Flurfs of the fungi covered long dead and decaying stump. Those fungi are called saprophytic fungi. Saprophytic. It's the opposite of parasitic. It's fungi that live off dead things, or things that live off dead things. Elizabeth Sylvester asked, "Did school teach you about evolution in history or science or both?" I didn't learn much of the details of evolution. I might have done if I'd done biology, but in my senior years. But I didn't learn much about evolution in high school, I have to say. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about the Texas education system. Wasn't very good at doing things objectively.
No.
We had a couple of good teachers that stayed away from bringing the biblical bullshit, but there was always a few that wanted to try and hijack and turn it into some sort of God creation story thing. I think, come on, guys. No.
Well, we can thank individuals like Aaron Ra, who were instrumental in ensuring that sshit didn't make it past the board,
right?
Because he was up there, arguing against that, and being like, "No, you can't do this," and the state board listened. So thankfully, but I mean, this fight comes up every freaking year, so they're going to keep pushing until they get what they want.
And I mean, that is the thing. They've just decided that they're going to keep, it's death by 1,000 cuts. They're just going to keep pushing at this. It's like a nagging 6-year-old, and just you're going to they're going to keep at it.
Yeah, the one thing they try and do is they say, well, how about we just teach it alongside of, you can teach evolution as long as you teach creation. And yeah, I'm sorry, that needs to be done in church. That's where you need to learn about that.
You can teach.
They want to do it under the auspices of. They want to do it under the auspices of. Well, we don't know all the ways it could have been. The science is still out. It's all theoretical, and so why not just include this, right?
And again, that has never been a sound basis for just abandoning science and adopting. We have made the technological advances we have over the past 400 years precisely because we have not accepted, well, God did it as an answer. And we've given the pursuit, the intellectual pursuit of a better understanding of our universe over to scientists. We've divorced it from religion, and by doing so, we've achieved a great deal that we hadn't previously been able to. So now everybody wants to stop. The fundamentalists want to stop and say, okay, well, enough of that. We need to get back to teaching, to just blaming everything on religion and accepting and saying that that's an acceptable answer to anything. Well, it's never been an acceptable answer before, and there's no reason to think that it's an acceptable answer now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
when did Saruman the Wise abandon reason for madness?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I would have gone with a less crappy book to make
Oh!
that.
Poof, motherfucker. Yep.
We must join with him, Gandalf. Join with Saruman.
And so that brings us up to about the 2-hour mark, and we might draw a line under this, since I have to go off and do stuff. JL, I came to you first. What have you got coming up? What would you like to say to our adoring viewers?
All of you are amazing. Love you all for coming out. Thank you so much. I know that you have your pick of shows that you could live shows that you can watch, live streams that you can watch, and we thank you for choosing the 4 Beardsman of the Apocalypse, or 3 as it were, until we get Irish back. Thank you all. You guys are amazing. Please.
Well, that leprechaun does have a beard, so
this is true. Definitely check out PhD Tony's. God, fuck, I can't talk.
Slow down, Mr. Monster Drinker, as he takes another sip with his pinky out.
Coke.
It's diet what? We've killed him. We've killed him.
So, thank you all so much for coming out. We do appreciate it. Please check out PhD Tony's channel. He is on the verge of monetization, and we can get him right over that, so he can join the rest of us in trying to, I guess, dedicate more time to it, put out more content once
Yeah.
start trolling. There you go, because we want to get you there. Other than that, I myself, like I told you on the previous live stream, I've got a new video coming out this week, and also I've got Week in Horror that's going to be on Wednesdays. Look for cool stuff happening on both of those. And other than that, that's pretty much it. What about you, Johnny?
Same old, same old. Got news coming out tomorrow. Got Dingleberries coming out Friday. I'll be live on Tuesday and Wednesday on the Weekend Horror because, I am on Weekend Horror this week, yes? Or no?
I'm pretty certain you are. We will discuss that
tonight.
At the breakdown, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Either way, you can catch me everywhere. I'll be all over this motherfucker.
Yes.
And then Tony down here, this awesome guy who needs probably another 100 hours, 150 hours or so after today. Something like that, yeah.
I am working towards a new video, but I discovered yesterday that I think my Blue Yeti might have died the final death.
The true
so
death.
I need. Yes, so I think I might need another one. But we're in lockdown at the moment, so getting one isn't as straightforward. But we'll see. So we'll see whether or not I can get a new mic and sort things out. But anyway, so yes, thank you all for watching. We really do appreciate it. Me especially. So do follow up with Johnny and JL, who produce fantastic content. Also, Blue Marble Science and Professor Phil Bell, whose content I cannot recommend highly enough. And Aaron Ra, go do your homework. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And
take care, everyone. Say bye.
JL just said, "Well, I'm fucking out." There he's back. Oh, there he is.
Sorry about that. I accidentally. I was moving my because I sprayed everywhere, so I'm trying to get enough forward, and it just completely knocked me out of the window. I guess I did I hit the back button.
I don't know. Anyway, here goes a picture there.
Yeah.
There goes an outro there. Bye, everybody.